Hello everybody, and welcome back to It All Depends on the Situation. I am your host, Eric, and once again joined in studio by my good buddy, Kevin.
Good to be back.
All right.
And Iron Man 2.
Right.
For anybody that doesn't know that.
The good Russian accent. So, we are back again for retro game episodes and pods. I believe this is the fourth one now?
I'm not sure.
Yeah. Retro games and nostalgia, I believe is the title.
Well, I'm going to go with it.
Yeah. I think it's the first time I've had you on for one of these, so...
Yeah, I have not done one of these.
Yep. So we're going to dive back in the past, through our childhood, talk about like all kinds of moments, memories, especially video games that really kind of were keystone moments for us growing up.
For sure.
Yep. And I think the quintessential one that I think is intrinsic to both me and you is definitely Sonic the Hedgehog.
Yeah.
Going way back in the Genesis days.
Yeah, for sure.
That was the main competitor to Mario, and I remember going to my cousin's house and to your house, too, because I think you had Sonic 2.
Yeah.
I think first before any of my friends, and we were playing that like crazy.
Yeah. We would occasionally rent Sonic 1 and Sonic 3 and Sonic and Knuckles, but yeah, we had Sonic 2, so we played the crap out of that.
Yep. And that was the first one where Super Sonic made his appearance as well.
Yeah.
All the Chaos Emeralds.
I feel like one of the bosses was Metal Sonic also.
Yep. I think it was a more spikier Metal Sonic, like he turned into like this weird ball porcupine thing, and like, you know,
when he would spin dash, it turned into sort of like a saw blade looking deal.
Yep. I remember Metal Sonic from Sonic CD was actually more of like a speedy racer type of Metal Sonic.
Okay.
So he was a different type, but you actually see both of them. I think in container tanks in Sonic Adventure, you see the one Metal Sonic and like another variation of him.
Okay.
So which is interesting. But Sonic was always, you know, my unsung like childhood hero back then.
Yeah, I enjoyed Sonic 2. I was never very good at it, but I've never been good at games in my life anyway, but it was fun.
I wish you could have saved Sonic games. It wasn't until the third one when you finally could.
Oh, my God, yes.
That was annoying. Like, you basically had to grind through the whole game in order to get to, like, where you wanted to go.
Yeah, you get to the end and fight the last boss, and he defeats you, and you got to restart the whole freaking game.
Yep, that was brutal back then.
And then Game Genie came along, and...
Yep, you could just basically...
Yeah, victory was had.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because you had Game Genie, I think, before anybody, and it basically was like, what, a cheat system that allowed you to, like, jump to any one.
Yeah, it had a lot of like built-in codes and stuff, and you could just infinite lives or infinite rings or whatever.
Yep.
And then you put that in the console, and then you could put Sonic and Knuckles in it on top of it, and then you could put, say, Sonic 2, and there's a 3-cartridge stack sticking a foot and a half out of your console, and it looked hilarious.
And that's why you had to have your game console not really sitting in a cabinet anywhere. It had to be out in front of your or in front of your like TV entertainment center, because the stack would be just giant. It would easily be like, what, at least 2 feet tall.
That thing was huge.
It was nuts. And then you get some people that like stack multiple Game Genies and multiple Sonic and Knuckles, and it turns into like this giant tower of games. It would still work.
Yeah. The thing with Sonic and Knuckles that was really cool is you could either play that game or you could put one of the other games on it and then go back through Sonic 1, 2, and 3 as Knuckles, which I thought was really cool.
Yep. Yeah, I remember Sonic 2 and Knuckles is interesting. I think Sonic 1, I don't know if it'll work or not. I think it brings up some error screen and said like, what, you tried to do something or something?
Yeah, maybe you couldn't play that one.
Yeah, it was different. But I do know, like the stack of that thing was just crazy.
Yeah. Sonic 1, when you turned me on to that the Sega game pack or whatever on the Xbox.
Oh, you mean the Genesis collection?
Yeah, that. Because the first Sonic was in there, and I couldn't remember it, and I kept trying to spin dash, and you can't do it.
Nope, not in the first Sonic. Yeah. You couldn't do that. So that was actually, when Genesis first came out, that was a package deal. They basically bundled the original Sonic the Hedgehog game with a Genesis console, so when you bought a new Genesis console, it came with a Sonic game. So that's how Sonic really got ingrained. Nintendo did the same thing, too, with Mario. They did bundle Mario with their console.
Right.
And it was a big selling point.
Yeah, Sonic was fun. I could never figure out why Robotnik was just catching all the little forest animals. Like at the end of the levels in Sonic 2, you would break the device and all the little birds and stuff would come hopping out of it.
Yeah. He would always like capture a bunch of animals and just keep them prisoner or like lock them into these robots. It was weird.
So you just powering your devices with little tiny songbirds and mice? I don't understand.
That was their energy source. But yeah, Robotnik was always an interesting figure, and I guess he was, if you look in the guidebooks, I think he was based off of a real-life American president, Teddy Roosevelt.
Oh, was that what it was?
Yeah, that was the inspiration behind Robotnik originally, but he's got a Russian name, Robotnik.
Yeah, I thought there was some sort of parallel between him and, like, the Russians as
That's what I thought,
as a communist faction.
But, like, he literally was... like his aesthetic was based off of Teddy Roosevelt. And if you look at it, he does kind of look like him in the face a lot.
The big mustache. And,
yep.
Yeah.
But I was just like, boy, what did Teddy Roosevelt do to Japanese people?
Right.
God. Put that one together. That was weird.
Right.
And then over the course of time, they phased out the Robotnik name for some whatever reason.
Eggman.
And turned him into Eggman.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay.
Didn't they call him Eggman in the show, though?
They did. That's what I mean. Like earlier on.
The show was.
Because like in the video games, they actually came out with Dr. Robotnik's Mean Bean Machine.
Huh.
So that was before the Eggman days. Eggman kind of came around, with the TV show later on, the later TV shows, and then Sonic Adventure kind of dabbled in that a little bit, where Robotnik was getting insulted. He's like, I am Dr. Robotnik. And Sonic's like, whatever you say, Eggman.
Yeah.
And he's getting salty about it. He's like, silence! But that's where the transition really started in the late 90s, early 2000s to call him Eggman.
Okay.
So, and then he started having the egg carrier and using all egg references. So it's like, okay.
Yeah.
This guy's got a fixation with eggs. So, sure.
I can remember that the swimming levels sucked.
Yes.
Yeah, and you'd have to get to the air bubble.
Yeah, it's not going to be like...
Yeah, and then dead.
Mm-hmm.
Water levels in early games for me were horrendous. I was so mad at them.
Yeah, they would drive me up a wall, too. Actually, the one level that drove me nuts in a Sonic game was Sonic 3 was the carnival level with those freaking rotating platforms. I
can't remember Sonic 3.
Oh, my God, that thing was annoying. I couldn't figure out. I guess you're supposed to hold up or hold down, and the little platform that he's slowly spinning on will just eventually go up and down far enough where you can just jump off of it.
Huh.
But as a kid, I'm like, what the heck do I do? I'm stuck.
Right.
So it drove me nuts.
Yeah, a lot of those old games had something like that was just impossible to grasp for some reason.
Now, going back to other Genesis games, what other games did you have? Because you actually had the Genesis console growing up, where I didn't.
Lion King, which was
that game.
Damn travesty.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like, I can't remember if it was Sega or Nintendo, but there was a Home Alone game, and I think it might have been Nintendo.
I remember that one.
It was a goddamn nightmare. Oh, yeah, it was a piece of shit. Genesis, Golden Axe.
Oh, my gosh, Golden Axe. That was a good one.
Yeah, we had Golden Axe 2, and we would rent Golden Axe 1 occasionally. Actually, my ringtone on my phone is the Golden Axe 2 theme.
Is it?
Oh, yeah.
It's so good.
It is.
Golden Axe, I swear, inspired Diablo and a lot of these other fantasy game genres too, because they pay homage to Golden Axe.
I remember I've played it as an arcade cabinet a couple times.
Really?
I feel like they had that at Video Safari.
More than likely,
it was one of the 2 Golden Axe games. I'm almost positive. Mortal Kombat. I feel like we had one of those. It was either the first one or the second one, and we would rent the other ones and Game Genie the shit out of all these games.
Oh yeah. You probably unlock everybody. So, do they have any special unlockable characters in the original Mortal Kombat or Mortal Kombat 2?
Mortal Kombat 2, you could do some goofy secret unlock thing for Smoke, I think.
Really?
And then Mortal Kombat 3, who could you unlock in that one? Either Rain or Mortal Kombat 1 or 2, you could unlock Reptile also.
That's interesting.
Yeah, he wasn't one of the original characters, I don't think. Sean would know that more than me. He was the Mortal Kombat guy.
Oh yeah. Yeah, Sean's always been great at fighting games. So
I'm absolute trash.
Yeah, that's like me. When Sean hosts Mortal Kombat tournaments, and him and Blake Oaks are on a whole different level. Yeah. I mean, they just beat the crap out of everybody in Mortal Kombat. They're awesome.
Yeah, he's always been good at definitely the fighting games for sure. Streets of Rage. We played that one a lot.
That was a cool one.
Altered Beast.
I remember Altered Beast. I remember playing that at your house, especially.
Power Up.
Yeah.
Power Up. Game was... I've gone back and played it several times as an adult, and it's still fucking hard.
Oh, yeah.
With max health and max lives, and I still get destroyed.
The hilarious death sound ah!
Yeah,
you just crumple to the ground.
And there's enemies that you just can't dodge, and attacks that you can't dodge, and things that you just can't touch or you get hurt. I'm like, how the fuck are you supposed to beat this?
Right. It's like, son of a bitch.
And there's the one level where you're underground, you can turn into a bear eventually if you get all the little glowing.
You have to get 3 of those little power-up orbs. And it turns into a different altered beast in every level or something.
Each level. And then that's the one that has these ant enemies that run around and you can't dodge them and they're super fast.
It's like, damn it.
Yeah, and they run right over you and they kill you. Fucking.
Yeah, those games were not for the faint of heart. They were definitely challenging.
Yeah, they're rage-inducing. There was a Jurassic Park game, and that was either Super Nintendo or Genesis. It might have been Super Nintendo.
Yeah.
That one was a bitch.
Do you remember the 3DO at all? The Panasonic 3DO?
No.
No, that thing was ridiculously priced, $700 out the gate.
Holy shit.
Yeah, and that came out in the mid-90s. That thing was nuts. My cousin had one. I'm like, oh my God.
I remember it being a thing, but I don't even know if I've ever seen one.
There was a Jurassic Park game that came out for that, and he hooked it up to a sound system back then, And I used to like play because you could basically control a Tyrannosaurus Rex, and you hit a button on the controller and it would roar.
Yeah.
And he had it hooked up to all of his systems, so it would literally like shake the windows in his house because it was so loud. Like, this is awesome!
That is pretty fun.
So, good memories there. But I remember playing, he had Sega CD, which is like a little add-on thing for the Genesis.
Yeah.
And that's where I played Sonic CD for the first time. I'm like, this is awesome.
I remember that being a thing too, the Sega CD.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there was multiple attachments you could build or put on with the Genesis. The one being the 32X as well, right?
Yeah, that sounds right.
You could have, because you had the Genesis, you had the Sega CD add-on, and then you could have the 32X on top of that. So it was just this giant albatross of like, and you needed like it had 3 different plugs for each system.
Yeah.
So, and the stupid, what is it, surge protector things only had enough for 2. So it's just like, God damn it, I need to get another one. So you just had this giant like daisy chain of all these different like adapters plugged into your wall.
Yeah, back in the day, things were not very...
So clunky.
Yeah, it was all very clunky. Mm-hmm. That's a good word for it. They were not very adjustable.
They finally wised up and did a thing with, I think GameCube did this too, where I think it's just a regular plug, but like there's a little adapter pack later down the chain where that's where most of the stuff that would normally go into an adapter would be. They just moved it down a little bit, so it makes it easier to plug in. I'm like, that makes way too much sense. Like, I couldn't be doing this all along.
Right. Why did it take so long for somebody to come up with this?
Yeah, Nintendo, they were thinking way ahead. So, and then poor Sega basically got left out to dry as soon as Sony came out with PS2. Like, we have a DVD player in our system, and Sega's like, well, fuck this.
Yep.
So and they packed it in.
Yeah, Sega was still dicking around with 16-bit cartridges.
Mm-hmm. It's the wave of the future. No, it's
not.
And Sega Dreamcast, they really try to double down on like trying to protect their games from being ripped and copied, because that was the thing, is burning disc back then.
Yeah. And
you could burn tons of video games for the original PlayStation back then. And those things, that's one thing I didn't like about the original PlayStation. You got one scratch and your game was just bust.
Yeah.
And you paid all this money for stinking like Jet Moto or some other game.
Yep.
Yeah. Did you ever have a PlayStation growing up? I know I didn't.
No, I don't remember whose it was. One just showed up at our house. It was a PlayStation 2.
Uh-huh.
And I have no idea whose it was. It just showed up and it was there for like 3 years. So we played that a little bit.
Yep.
But there was a motorcycle racing game called Road Rash.
Mm-hmm. I remember that.
Yeah, played that on the Genesis. That one was fun.
That was a classic.
The cop always fucking got me.
Yep. I remember playing that actually in an arcade, I think. Yeah, they had the arcades over at back in Carnation Mall, they actually had like a whole arcade room with stuff. And I think Walmart used to have arcades too for a while.
That sounds like it was a thing, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Way early on. They phased those things out over the 2000s, though.
We had NBA Jam also.
Yep.
That was actually for...
He's on fire!
He's on fire. He's heating up.
Yep.
That one was pretty fun. There was another one. It was like a street basketball game. You could beat the shit out of people and steal the ball.
I remember, I think it was NBA Jam, where I ended up playing, I think, for the Dreamcast, and you could play as like custom characters. So I always made like the Cardinals mascot.
Yeah.
For some reason, and just went jumping around and just, he's on fire! He's on fire! He's on fire! And it's like, holy crap!
Yes.
Mm-hmm. So good.
What was Crash Bandicoot on?
Crash Bandicoot, that was Sony. That was one of Sony's main iconic games. Crash Bandicoot and Spyro the Dragon. Yeah. Those are like two of their big iconic franchises. Lara Croft was another one for Tomb Raider.
Yeah. So I played a little Crash Bandicoot back in the day.
Yeah. And another one, Gene's and I brought up too, was Twisted Metal.
Yeah.
That was a big one for the original PlayStation. They came out with 3 editions of that. Or no, 4. There was Twisted Metal 1, 2, 3, and 4.
Yeah.
Throughout the life cycle.
Playing the original PlayStation. Brett had one of them, and he had Twisted Metal, and me and my brother would play that with him.
Oh, yeah.
And he had Critical Depth. It was like a goofy-ass submarine game.
Don't remember that one.
Yeah, you just like floated around and went through these rings. It was a silly-ass game. What was the other one? I made a list of these things, and it's all over the place.
That's good. We need to go all over the place.
Right? Critical Depth Killer Instinct was another fighting game that was
Killer Instinct.
Really shitty.
Yep. You ever play Clay Fighter?
No.
Clay Fighter, Clay Fighter.
That one does not ring a bell.
Yep. They actually have, what's a really good little, in-game jingle or something like that.
Oh, yeah?
So that's what it's most known for. They had, like, the Clay Fighter, like, version, 63rd and a third or something like that. Like, obsessed with threes or something. I'm like, what? 33 and a third or something? I think it was the N64 version of Clay Fighter. I'm like, the fuck?
Oh, 33 and a third is a LP record.
Is it?
Yeah, it's the main diameter for like the bigger records are 33 and a third.
There we go. The more you know.
I think. Because the 45s are the smaller ones.
And we're going to pause real quick for a quick plug-in. So, I have another audiobook recommendation for you. This one is called Eat Like a Local, Houston, a Houston, Texas food guide. Written by author Samantha Copeland and narrated by me, Eric Brown. If you want to know the lay of the area and some of the best places to eat in Houston, definitely check out this book. Now available on Audible. And we're back to the pod.
Super Nintendo Doom had I remember Doom had a red cartridge. It was the only one I ever saw that had a red cartridge.
I did not know that one.
And it had the goofy, like the first level had the Master of Puppets Metallica ripoff. So,
Really?
Yeah.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah. Original Doom was good. It was fun.
Yeah, I remember Doom. We ended up rebuying that thing like crazy. And then you got, Doom 3, I think, for the Xbox, right?
You
With
had
no
that
flashlight?
one before I did.
What's that?
You had that before I did.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, Ryan must have bought it.
Maybe.
So, because I think Ryan was more bigger into that stuff than I was. So we were more into Halo at that point.
Yeah, that game was fun.
Oh, yeah. That was one of the better games. And I think, did Bethesda buy Doom at that point? Or is that later on?
That was later on.
I thought so.
Yeah, that they bought id Studios. Super Nintendo.
Oh my gosh, yeah, Super Mario World for the Super Nintendo was good.
Original Mario Brothers with Duck Hunt combo cartridge.
Oh, yeah.
The damn gun.
Talked about that thing with the running pad.
Yeah.
Yep. Told you that was a thing.
Yeah, I forgot about the running pad being a thing.
It never operated how it was supposed to. So you'd sit there and just
Well, it's like the gun thing. I never knew how the gun for Duck Hunt worked.
the freaking dog.
That son of a bitch.
Dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun.
And he would laugh at you.
Yeah, exactly.
Shoot you, son of a bitch.
I think in the later Super Smash Brothers, I think you can play as the Duck Hunt dog.
Really?
Yeah. It's hilarious.
That's a fantastic enemy to be.
Mm-hmm. I think you play as the dog and the duck or something like that. Wild.
The duck would be funny.
Mm-hmm.
Booger Man?
Booger!
Booger!
Oh, God, we haven't brought that one up.
That game.
That was, Sean references that one still quite a bit, too.
I cannot find a copy of that game.
Mm-hmm.
I will cherish that game until the day I die. I was not good at it. I don't even remember beating it.
It's like some janitor, basically, he can teleport down toilets or something like that. Very disgusting, grody game.
Yeah, the whole game was hilariously gross. There's like little pustules you can break and
and
collect plungers. And
if he grabbed a chili pepper, he could fly because he was like farting on fire.
Fart fire. You can flick boogers and burp and fart on people.
Yep, and hawk loogies and crap. I'm
you drink milk and you can hawk loogies.
It is the most grody game I think we've ever played.
The first level is the flatulent swamps.
And I still can't figure out why they never made a sequel. Booger!
I just want them to bring it back.
Booger Man 2. Oh my God!
I want that game.
Yeah, I know they still sell, but it's probably like well over at least $60 now.
And it's so hard to find. Like I said, I've not seen a physical copy of that game in decades.
The thing I would talk to Sean about too, I'd say, is look for like an emulator cart because we're talking about like the EverDrive 64. Is like you can download an emulator on a micro SD card, plop it into a cartridge, and then plop that in your game console. And you can play basically every game. Oh, that would probably be the way to do that for Booger Man. Booger!
God, that game
so good.
And all the enemies are based on like farts and snot.
Oh yeah, all kinds of grody, disgusting things. I'm sure that was probably to compete with Toe Jam and Earl for the Genesis
or Earthworm Jim.
I think it played very similar to Earthworm Jim, didn't it?
Yeah, I feel like Earthworm Jim was either supposed to be like one of them is a crossover character.
Is it?
In the other game? Yeah. I feel like Booger Man showed up in Earthworm Jim or something.
So it's a crossover.
Something like that. Yeah.
Gosh, that's going back.
Fucking Booger Man.
Booger.
Love that game. One of the only PC games I ever played besides fucking Oregon Trail was The Hobbit. I had The Hobbit on PC.
Really?
Yeah,
I don't remember that one.
That was a fun one. Played the hell out of that.
Yep. I had Sonic for the PC. Just remember like I talked about NFL math and all that nonsense.
Yeah.
So ridiculous.
Math blasters.
Mm-hmm.
Your guys' bit on Oregon Trail, I was losing my mind.
I was gonna say, okay, you were only like one grade behind me. You remembered the old school Oregon Trail and everything, right?
Yeah, and
all that nonsense.
Yeah, being young, I didn't understand the concept of carrying capacity. And so, like, you can carry 50 pounds of equipment or something. I'm like, okay, I found a whole field of buffalo. If I go out there and kill all the buffalo, I'll never need to buy food. I killed like 100 buffalo. I'm like, why can't I only pick up half of one? Shit.
God damn it. You waste all your money on ammo and you're like, oh no.
Yep. And then like an hour later, I died of dysentery anyway.
Yep. Goddamn dysentery.
Oh, yeah. You try to get across the last river and your raft sinks.
Yeah. You smash into a rock. No.
I feel
your
like
entire family drowned and died.
Yep.
The end.
Yep. No wonder kids are traumatized.
Along those lines, there's actually a board game out there. It's like, okay, you ever heard about like the Donner Party?
No.
Apparently, like, they were stuck trying to make it through the Oregon Trail, and they tried to take this thing that's now been labeled as the Donner Pass, and they got bogged down in a snowstorm, and it got to the point where they had to commit cannibalism.
Oh, perfect.
So there's a card game out there now called the Donner Dinner Party.
Oh, good.
So basically, it has like all kinds of cannibal references and whatnot. I'm like, oh my god. So
Right.
a tie into Oregon Trail is basically the Donner Party.
I'm glad that we have such a dark sense of humor these days. It's
God.
fantastic.
Got you.
Yeah, it's my favorite kind of humor.
In this economy? God damn.
Zombies Ate My Neighbors. You remember that one?
Yes, I remember that one. God, what's some of the other ones?
God, Zombies Ate My Neighbors was fun but annoying. It's like a lot of the characters.
There was the Alex Kidd game, which I faintly played.
I don't remember that one.
Yeah. Sean and his cousin Matt always played like Smash TV or something like that.
Okay. That one sounds...
Yeah. That was like a multiplayer game. We go around just like smashing stuff. Do you remember the old Ninja Turtles game?
Yeah.
Like, I remember playing that one.
Those were fucking hard.
They were tricky. And then like I think the cover on the old Nintendo one had every turtle accidentally with all red bandanas.
They're always like that.
Yeah, I'm like, what the heck?
Yeah, a lot of the older art stuff you see for those, they're all red.
Yeah.
The only thing that differentiated was the letter on the belt
Yep.
and the weapons. But
Yeah, they messed that up.
They were always all red for some reason.
Mistakes are made. That's kind of like the one big error on the Pokemon card game. If you look at the back of the card, the Pokeball opens backwards. Like the little button is actually with the red or with the white part instead of the red part.
Oh, yeah.
I'm like, that's wild. But it's been an error ever since.
Yeah, they just kind of ran with it.
They're like, well, we messed up.
Yeah, the old Pokemon games. I guess, like I said in the other episode, I started with yellow and picked up red later, but I never played blue. I never played gold and silver, never anything after that.
One thing I was confused about, they never came out with green version.
Yeah, that was weird.
They always had that originally for over in Japan. They had green, red, and blue.
Yeah.
But red and blue were the newest, so they just said, you know what, we'll just port this thing over in English and we'll just go with that because green was so old at that point. They're like, why even bother? But it's like, man, missed out on another marketing point because you could have had like 3 of these games all competing.
Yeah, and then like I kind of shafted Venusaur.
Yeah.
I feel like they were like, nah, fuck Venusaur.
Right. And I think that left a stigma on Bulbasaur because everyone's like, well, we want him. He doesn't even grace the cover of these games.
Yeah.
And it's like, poor Bulb.
Yeah. Poor little guy got shafted early on.
Blasted him. Bye-bye, Bulb.
Dead.
So he's been bulbed. Oh, my gosh. Yeah, I'm trying to remember some of the PC games playing back then. Now, did you ever run into the printer thing where you accidentally like printed off an entire strategy guide by accident like what Jeremy did?
No, honestly, I didn't know how to operate a printer back then. I still have no idea how to operate a printer. I would, not the entire strategy guide, but I would print off stuff for Mortal Kombat and try to beat certain characters, like the move lists and stuff.
Now, that I can understand because, yeah, those stinking fatalities were such a pain in the butt to try and remember. I'm like, ah.
It still didn't work. I was still shitty at it.
Yep. I tried and tried, but like I could never get those things down. Sean could kind of like, ram those things off like, verbatim, just like, oh yeah.
Yep.
I remember the thing with Reptile too. If you ever unlocked him in Mortal Kombat 2, he could turn invisible. I'm just like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Like, good luck trying to beat a completely invisible character. I'm like,
yeah,
impossible.
Yeah, the camouflage. I think you could see him, but it was still.
He could also create this weird orb that he could shoot. It goes very slow, but like there's no way of dodging it. I'm like, damn it. It would just like roast me every time. I'm like, damn, man.
You get hit with that, it killed you.
Yeah, Mortal Kombat was a hell of a game back then. That and the movie was fantastic.
God, those movies were...
The friggin' intro.
I still love those movies.
Mortal Kombat!
Yeah,
Dun,
the
dun, dun,
the
dun.
best fucking intro song and theme song ever. Nothing will top it, ever.
The hilarious, like, overacting at the very beginning. Your brother's soul is mine. Lou!
Yeah. Welcome to the movie. I watched it either last year or the year before. I'm like, my God, this is so 90s.
Oh, yeah.
It screams 90s, and I love it.
Have you seen the sequel, which is Mortal Kombat Annihilation?
Yeah. It's bad.
Oh, my God. Like, the whole, what's that? Animality at the very end.
God, those are
with the
rough.
claymation fight.
Yeah.
It's like, what the hell is this?
Yeah, those are rough.
So bad.
Yeah.
Like, ugh.
Give them credit for trying, though.
Yep. This is high tech back then.
Did you watch the new Mortal Kombat?
I'm trying to think if I have. Honestly, the games feel more like movies now more than anything because their cinematics for those things are awesome.
I haven't played a Mortal Kombat game since Mortal Kombat 4.
I still remember the infamous line in Mortal Kombat, like Annihilation, was when who was it? Was it Kitana meets her mother?
Yeah.
She's like, "Mother, you're alive. Too bad you will die.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, oof.
Yeah, the
Acting.
The acting in that movie was awful.
Actually, I will joke about that all the freaking time.
Yeah, and then they brought, like, Johnny Cage shows up for 4 seconds in the movie and dies.
Yeah, they like freaking break his neck. I'm like, well, this is off to a very bad start of a movie.
Yeah, that one was, not that the first one was great, but that one was rough.
It has begun.
Yeah, fuck that guy.
Mm-hmm.
God, the acting in that movie. The effects were also,
Top tier, baby.
The effects were also really fucking bad.
Get over here.
But I've also watched that movie 3,000 times
Oh,
in my
I
life,
do.
so.
So good. That was one of the few like movie or was a video game to movie adaptations that I guess could be kind of like more of a cult following than respectable, I guess.
Yeah, kind of like Super Mario Brothers.
Yeah. Oh my God. Have you seen the original Super Mario Brothers movie?
Yeah, that's what I mean.
With the really weird like Bowser head on the thing. I'm like,
they have like the tiny heads.
His body is huge and his head's like so tiny. I'm like, what is this?
Yeah, the movie's made no fucking sense.
Like, what the hell?
But I love that movie.
Yeah, it's definitely it's got that like dystopian gritty vibe where it's like you go into like really dark town.
Like, oh hey, we needed a bad guy. Here's Dennis Hopper.
Yeah. Don't know what they're thinking. Oh.
Yeah.
Just make a movie. I don't know. You see Batman? Oh, we'll do something like that.
Right? Like why? I don't know.
Yeah, there was a lot of movies in like the early 90s, late 80s that had that type of gritty feel to it.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, video game movie adaptations. Boy, that's a great one. Oh. What were some of the other ones they tried?
Did they make a Street Fighter movie?
I don't know if they did. I know they made a Tomb Raider movie with Angelina Jolie.
Yeah, I feel like they make more than one.
They made 2. The first one was good, and then Ashley said that like the second one's kind of meh.
Yeah, I don't remember the first one being bad, but that was when Angelina Jolie was at like the top of her
career.
hot babe vibe.
Yep. I thought she looked like Lara Croft.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, they did her up good for that movie. Daniel Craig showed up to be a bad guy in that movie.
Oh, yeah. I think he ends up getting shot or something. And she has to go back in time and basically save him or something.
Oh, is that what happens?
Yeah. It was crazy.
I haven't seen that movie since it came out.
Yep. That was good. There's a lot of big names in that one, too, if you go back and look at that thing. But some other video game movie adaptations. Dang.
I'm going to the internet for this one.
Yeah, go for it. Got some time here.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about the Sonic the Hedgehog movies.
Oh, my God. The most
Recently,
recent.
yeah.
Well, talking about, Sonic and
Not that those are older, but...
Jim Carrey, even though, like, he doesn't fit the figure of what Robotnik is, because he's supposed to be, like, kind of more of a bulbous guy.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. He absolutely just nails his Robotnik.
Yeah, those movies were good.
Classic Jim Carrey. The Hedgehog! Sonic 2, the movie. If you ever get a chance to see it, go see that sucker. That thing is awesome.
Yeah, the Sonic movies were good.
Mm-hmm.
I forgot about Doom.
The Doom movie. Oh, with The Rock.
My God, was that movie bad.
Oh, yeah. That, I think, probably bombed the video game adaptation to movie industry for a while.
Christ, that movie was bad.
The Assassin's Creed movie. That was another one.
Yeah, there is a Street Fighter movie that I've never seen. Double Dragon? Remember that one?
I do remember that one. Don't remember the movie, though.
I watched that movie last year sometime, and it was also, because I bought it, it was hilariously 90s also. It screamed 90s. It's not very good, but I love that movie.
The Doom movie, you're right. Oh my God, I forgot how bad that
Yeah.
bombed.
Fuck that movie, man.
Holy crap. Yeah, that was Dwayne The Rock Johnson, baby.
And Carl Urban.
And then going from the reverse angle here, Tron movie.
I love that movie.
Yeah, that was different. Like, okay, Tron Legacy was freaking sweet. Although I think
Tron Legacy was
it would give people, like, I think headaches because it was in 3D and the whole thing was like neon blue and black all the time. And I think it just messed with people's heads, and they were watching 3D, and it was just like, I got a headache after watching that.
I love that aesthetic in that movie.
I do too. It looks awesome.
Yeah.
And the whole soundtrack with Daft Punk is freaking awesome.
I have that one. Yeah, that movie was cool. I love that movie.
Yep. The original Tron is so dated by comparison, though, back in the 1980s.
I have not seen the original.
Oh, my God, it's laughable. If you ever get a chance. But I don't know if that came first and then the game came after or vice versa. But I know there's a Tron game, and basically it's like, the little speed bike
light
thing?
cycles?
Or maybe it's a series of games. I think it's a series of games.
Okay.
And that's what they play in the movie. So, definitely dated.
Like, I had only ever seen the original, or the newer Clash of the Titans movies, or Wrath of the, whatever, I think it's Clash of the Titans. And I watched the original. Like,
And watch the old one.
My God. It was rough.
Bit of a difference.
Claymation out the ass, which they did what they could at
Ray
the time.
Harryhausen. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Actually, if you watch the new they actually sped up or like polished up a lot of like the frames per second of those things, and they look way more fluid now.
Really?
Oh yeah, you can do like comparison videos they have on YouTube. It's really cool.
If you watch Monsters Inc., Mike Wazowski takes his date to Harryhausen's.
What?
The restaurant, it's very, very exclusive, very hard to get into. It's
really?
It's Harryhausen's.
The Harryhausen's?
Yeah.
So good.
Like good call there. Gran Turismo, I forgot about that. Max Payne, that was not, I've never played the game, but I understand the movie to be shit.
Never played Hitman, but I know they made a Hitman movie.
Yeah.
Angry Birds movie.
I forgot about that. Mm-hmm. Pokemon movies.
Those were always good.
Yeah, I've only seen a few of those, and I remember them. I mean, that was when I was in deep with the Pokemons.
Drove our parents nuts with those things, though, because all they said were their names.
Yeah.
Pikachu.
Tron, Arcane, Blood Rain. Come on, give me a better list.
I remember Jumanji when that came out, because even though that wasn't a video game, that was a board game.
Dude, Jumanji is so damn good, and I don't know if it's just because it came out like in my youth of like that time, and it just stuck. But I love that movie.
The newer ones. Honestly, I like them all because I love the original movie because it was like, it kind of reminded me of Video Safari in a lot of ways. That's one of the big things. I'm just like, oh my God, rhinos crashing through the side of a bedroom wall. It's amazing.
Robin Williams,
legendary.
At the height of his power there.
It could be a very traumatic movie too, because like he's getting sucked into a board game.
Yeah.
It's like, what the fuck?
Yeah, me being I love that style of Robin Williams, like that and Hook. I will love those movies till the day I'm dead because of Robin Williams.
Yep. Yeah, he definitely brought an extra, just like specialness to those movies.
Yeah,
it was awesome. But that's why I was so leery about the newer Jumanjis coming out. I'm like, just like, how are these going to be? Honestly, I've really enjoyed them.
I don't think I've seen the second one yet. If I have, I don't remember it. But I'm trying to think if I've seen the second one. I don't feel like I have. I saw at least the first one. It was okay. I was okay with it. I went in with my expectations being low, so I was pretty surprised with it.
But I like the last two. They were very good because I was really worried. I'm like, oh boy, this is Robin Williams' legacy in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
He really like made Jumanji.
It's like, don't fuck it up.
And yeah, I thought they did like a pretty darn good job. Like I said, I think chronologically, I like the second one more than the third one, and I guess they're working on the fourth one already.
There's a third one?
Yeah.
I thought there was only two new ones.
Well, basically
what you mean?
in the series, if you want to include the very first Jumanji, I consider that the first one, and then the second one is really the first of the new iteration. So, but I guess they're working on the fourth one, I guess. So, Jack Black is fantastic.
When I saw the newer, like the first of the newer ones, and they go into it, and it's like, okay, it's all jungle and stuff. I'm like, I don't quite think this wasn't what I pictured in the 90s of where Robin Williams went.
Right.
Because there's no giant mosquitoes, there's no lion running around, there's just none of this stuff. And then there's like a Mad Max band of bad guys running around on dirt bikes. Like, I don't understand how things advance in this. I mean, I get it, it's a game, you're not supposed to look too into it, but
well, if you see, like, the board game adapts itself and evolves into, like, a game cartridge, so it's almost like, oh, it's upgraded. Yeah. So it's trying to, change with the times as it goes on here. So I think that's kind of like where the upgrades came from, Mad Maxy a little bit.
Which, again, I was okay with it. I didn't really have a problem with the new one, so that was good.
I've loved them. So, and like I said, it harkens back to Video Safari. So always coming back to that old video rental store. It literally binds all of us.
I feel like there's not going to be an episode where that doesn't come up.
Yeah, we should just literally have a Video Safari episode where we just have a round table, we just talk and reminisce about that old place.
Which would be funny because as many times as it gets mentioned, that episode would be like 4 minutes long.
I don't think so. I think it'd be a lot longer than you think. It's spin off from like all kinds of video games and whatnot. And
because they had like the rhino head, the elephant head or something in there.
Yeah, all the fake stuffed animal heads that look legit.
Yeah.
That giant wall of TVs that made like one big picture.
Yeah, there was like
pretty cool.
The fake trees everywhere. The place was cool.
That was. And not to mention every video game you could possibly find.
Yeah.
I remember going there and renting, I think, South Park for the N64.
Yeah.
So they had that game there. They had a bunch of all kinds of deals on video rentals. And
we rented the Game Genie there once, and then we ended up buying one.
Yep. To me, get inspired.
Yeah.
Like I said, I feel like there's been something taken away from today's culture by losing out on the video rental stores.
Yeah, I mean, it was always a pain in the ass, like going to
return them, building up late fees,
or like say you go to Family Video, you're like, oh, I'm going to rent this game, it's going to be great. Take it home, scratches galore.
Yeah,
it's like somebody put it in a freaking cheese grater.
Right?
Like really?
God damn it!
Who's the dick?
That's why I always prefer the cartridges, and then also the cassette tape. It was harder to break a cassette tape, so.
But if you did it good.
Yeah, right. that or just cut the tape. Just,
Yeah, put them in like the rewinder, and it sounds like a little jet turbine.
yeah.
And then it
Blast
there's tape sticking out.
Oh
everywhere.
no, it busted. I always hated that when you put like a VHS tape into a VCR and like the tape would get like extra unwound and get caught in like all the coils. You have to like literally unscrew the top and try to get in there and try to unfunnel everything. It was nuts.
I forgot about the Resident Evil games to movies.
Oh yeah. Oh, that's another good adaptation. That's right.
I never saw any of those.
And hilariously, yeah, the horror genre, that's a whole other thing. Believe it or not, they made a Silent Hill movie.
Yeah.
And guess who survives in that Silent Hill movie?
Sean Bean.
Sean Bean. He survives a horror movie. But every other movie, he gets killed.
Except for National Treasure.
Yeah, well, he gets taken away.
He gets arrested.
Yeah, but yeah, National Treasure and...
Yeah.
Yeah.
A horror movie of all things.
Of all things. Yeah, he survives that. I'm like, are you kidding me?
Yeah, Sean Bean has a hard time surviving.
He does. Actually, one time, I think it was in a TV series, like remake of Frankenstein, he gets turned to a Frankenstein figure.
Really?
Like, they kill him and, like, they put him back together with a whole bunch of parts and basically he becomes a Frankenstein. So I'm like, he even dies in that one! Like, are you kidding me?
Yeah, he showed up in Oblivion, and I'm like, okay.
Yeah, Martin touched him, and his character dies in that one.
And then dead.
Turns into a giant dragon figure.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about the Prince of Persia movie.
Oh, yeah.
I know.
That was with,
Jake Gyllenhaal.
yeah,
Never
Gyllenhaal.
played. I don't think I've seen that movie or played the game, but I understand that game was fairly popular.
I played Prince of Persia: Sands of Time.
Yeah, that's
I never played the original Prince of Persia, which goes way back. I don't know if that was like original Nintendo or Super Nintendo.
yeah. Sands of Time is the one they made a movie out of. Tomb Raider.
But Sands of Time, that was an interesting one because that's one where like if your character died, you could hit a button and like he could basically like go back in time and like prevent himself from dying. I'm like, that's crazy.
Huh.
So
That's kind of a neat mechanic.
now that one came out. I think I remember playing that for the Xbox, the original Xbox, and then maybe like the original PlayStation or PlayStation 2. So it's going back a ways.
Yeah, I feel like I remember that being on the original Xbox at least.
All the classic games. Okay, another game we got to touch on here, which we got big into, I think, was Animal Crossing
Yep.
with frickin' Tom Nook.
That bastard.
Yep.
Is
Give me money.
Is he not the most hated video game character of
He's
all
up
time?
there. Like, I think, yeah, there was a rundown IGN did of like the top 100 like most evil video game villains. I think like right around the 50 mark, Tom Nook is on there.
That motherfucker should be one.
Basically, you get to an island and he basically puts you in debt. He's like, all right, pay me back.
Yeah, and then he's like, "Oh yeah, I'll sell you a pencil for $50,000." Oh, good.
Everything you need,
You know
I
what?
can provide. Just pay me.
Yeah, you know what you need? A pen to sign this contract. I'll rent you the pen and the paper.
Yep.
Thanks, dick.
And make sure to go around and like help out all your neighbors, everything, and then pay me back.
Yeah, asshole.
Yep.
Hate that guy. Hate him.
Tom Nook is the central bank of that island.
Yeah, that game though was the first of that sort of game that I'd ever played. And
Yeah, kind of like a life simulator type deal.
I played the shit out of that at your house, and it absorbed many an hour of my life.
It was really cool because you could have 4 people play in the same town.
Yeah.
And we always went with like Disney names. So we had like, what's that? Animal Kingdom, like A Kingdom. And then we also had Epcot and a few other places like that. And Disney, I think, was another. And yeah, we basically built up towns. And you could go from town to towns on trains to other memory cards. And you could pick up fruits that you could sell for higher value at your place if it was a different fruit.
Huh.
So I think you can get like peaches, cherries, apples, oranges, that type of thing, and then transplant them in your game, literally.
Okay, yeah, I do remember that.
Yep.
I remember working my ass off to get the 3-leveled house,
Yes.
and I filled that fucking place with the gyroids,
Yes. Those little like weird looking.
little cactus
Cactus
fire
looking
hydrant
things.
looking guys,
Wow.
and all they did was make noise and wobble.
I swear they got rid of those in later editions.
I feel like they did.
Yeah. But like they were so annoying because you get like the Happy Room Association giving you constant letters in the mail just saying, your house is so big, it's like a warehouse. It's not good enough. Like this just not going to cut it. We're going to give you a bad grade. And it's just like Tom Nook forces you to basically accept the Happy Room Academy and like, what is this?
Shove it up your ass.
Like, I don't give a crap if you're judging my house like that. What are you doing in my house anyway?
Get out of here.
No, it's like my personal property. Get out.
Yeah, like you couldn't walk in any of my rooms. There was like a 4
It's like one little path.
Yeah, one little path that walked into the middle of the room just so you could see all the gyroids doing their thing, and then out. Yeah, they would make all them goofy. Because there was the one that was like the Mega Freakazoid or something, and it would just scream.
Freaking. Yeah, they
Oh
did
my
do
God.
like random, like, yeah, we were gyrating and crap.
That game was, I feel like it just kind of came out of left field.
It did. It was completely random. It was supposed to come out for the N64, but the cartridges that it came with didn't have a running clock like the GameCube did. Okay. So they basically delayed it a little bit and released the North American version on the GameCube, which GameCube internally had a nice running clock. It was the perfect merger. Yeah. And it started a franchise from there because Animal Crossing really took off. So, and that was a really fun one. So, and it's a nice little lazy game. You just collect bugs and like you pop in, and because the real world clock, it'll actually merge with like, okay, if it's the 4th of July, they'll have firework day. Yeah. If it's Christmas, they'll have like, winter solstice day or something, or maybe even have Christmas in there. Who knows? Right. But I think Thanksgiving's Turkey Day. Like they have different holidays, I guess, depending on the region where you play it. So if you play it in Japan, they'll have different holidays. Play it in the UK, they'll have different holidays. It's kind of interesting.
That's kind of neat.
But it follows with the real world clock, so real world stuff.
Right.
Yeah, Easter's Bunny Day.
Yeah, that game, for a game of doing absolutely nothing, consumed so much time, and I don't understand how it did it.
Yep, just a fun little relaxer game.
It's like, oh, hey, here, go catch a bug. And 6 hours later, I've caught like 4 bugs. Like, okay.
Nice and relaxing.
See how it is.
And then the most recent edition of that was New Horizon that came out right at the beginning of the pandemic in 2020. And it released alongside Doom, of all things, the new Doom Bethesda game. The cross promotions between, it wasn't the game companies themselves, but really it was the fans.
Yeah.
Did all these tie-ins with, Isabel and Doom Guy, that they were the best of friends. It's fantastic if you walk online.
Doom is so good.
Mm-hmm. That new Doom, oh my God, is it graphic? Holy crap.
Did you play Eternal?
I did. I played Eternal and original one.
2016? 2016 was good. Eternal was so fast-paced, but mind-numbingly fun.
Oh, yeah.
I started replaying that one recently, and you get into a room, and there's there's 75 things to kill, and it
can get very gory very quick.
They start jamming some metal for you, and okay, have at it.
Blasting.
Yeah.
Okay. Moving, back in time again to the Xbox 360 days. Because after we went through, the PlayStation 2, all that stuff,
Original
Xbox, you got into Halo. We've already touched on Halo a lot.
Yeah.
But with the 360 coming out, I remember the first game I ended up getting there was Quake 4, of all things.
I forgot about that game. That game was fun.
That was a crazy game. It had a weird save mechanic, though. So, if you saved in the wrong spot, it would basically doom your game.
I can't remember that. Didn't you have to, go to... There was, little consoles in the game that you went to save, right?
I think you could just save it at random anywhere you wanted to. So, if someone shot a rocket launcher at you and you just save the game, you'd just be dead every time. You come back to a save point.
Maybe it was Prey.
Yeah.
Remember that game?
I do remember Prey. That's the one where, every time you got killed, you ended up, in some weird spirit area, and you had to shoot a bow and arrow at enemies in order to get life points and come back.
Yeah, I think that one had consoles. In the game, you had to find the terminals to save it.
That sounds right. Yeah, early on, Xbox 360 games were just weird.
That game was... I really enjoyed that game.
Yeah.
Because it had the weird alien guns that were organic, and they had the claws and the eyeballs and stuff on them.
Yeah, it was very interesting type of game.
Yeah.
Quake 4, I remember the whole, you got turned into this thing called a Strog.
Oh, yeah.
So I think it was called Strogification or something. Yeah. But your character basically goes around and eventually gets captured by the enemies, and then they saw off all of his limbs and then reattach metal parts and put some implants in his brain, but he's still cognitive of his things. Yeah, it's weird. I'm ugh.
I just remember playing that, and it was pretty entertaining.
It was graphic as all get out though. I'm ugh.
That was by the same company that made Doom.
Mm-hmm. Id, right?
Yeah. I think the first game I played on 360.
Mm-hmm.
Hexic HD.
Oh, yeah.
Remember that?
That little honeycomb, matching color game?
Yeah.
That was a different one. That one came free, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. What,
Did you ever...
Oh, God, what was the... Geometry Wars?
Yes, that's another big one.
God, that game was trippy as shit.
That was, especially, yeah.
When it distorts the screen.
And it just starts, because it gets so powerful. It's
That was fun, though.
That was an interesting one. And then, do you ever see, the online... meme video of this guy just saying hey, did you get Uno with your Xbox? I said, no, mine didn't come with Uno. I said, dude, every Xbox comes with Uno. And it proceeds to degrade into this ridiculous banter between the two. No, my Xbox is old. I didn't get Uno. Dude, it comes with every Xbox. You have Uno.
I don't remember Uno.
Oh my God, it was so freaking funny.
I don't remember Uno being there.
You have Uno.
I don't doubt that it was there.
Mm-hmm. But no, Hexic HD, that one came, I think, with every console.
Yeah.
So that was classic.
There was a point when I went to GameStop because I wanted another 360. So I go up there, buy a refurbished one, get it home, turn on, red ring.
No way.
I'm like, okay, this is cute. Pick it up, take it back. I'm like, hey. He's like, hey, what's up? I was like, I just bought this. Yeah, no. Yeah, red ring. Really? Yeah. All right, let me get you another one. Take it, go home.
Oh, no.
Red ring.
Are you serious? Back-to-back red ring?
I go back, I get a third one. I take it home. It fucking red ringed. And I come back.
What?
And they were getting, this was pushing like their closing time sort of. I get back up there and he's like, dude, what the fuck are you doing to these? I'm like, what are you giving me? He's like, all right, I'm going to get you another one. We're going to plug it in and try it here. Thank God, because I'm tired of driving back here.
Did it red ring?
No. He plugged it in, it worked. He's like, thank God. Like, right? I'm tired of driving up here. Nothing is you, but I don't want to see you again today.
Right.
He's
Oh
like,
my God.
he's like saying, I don't want you to bring me any more of this shit. I've never seen so many red rings in one day.
Yeah.
in my
That's
life.
just nuts.
Yeah, 4 fucking consoles. Blew my mind.
And for a long time, Xbox denied there was even a problem.
Yeah.
And eventually they doubled down and just said, listen, we'll replace all Xboxes. And then the next generation of Xbox 360s, the smaller boxes, they fixed that problem. So I no longer had that. But
The pain in the ass with that was it made all the original hard drive systems
like incompatible.
I remember that intercooler that you talked about, though.
Yep. The little fan you put underneath, the little stand tower. This is going to prolong the life of the Xbox. Nope. Open it up and just dust flies out of it. Like, what happened?
Fried it in record time.
Like, God damn it.
You remember the main screen there was like the tiles or the folders that you slid through?
Yeah, that was a really
That
cool.
was pretty cool.
Yeah.
I remember the original Xbox, how theirs was. It was like the circle with the logos and it
Little
would spin
moving
through.
like gear thing. Da-da-da-da. That was cool.
Yeah, and then they're like, here, pay extra money for a fucking DVD player, which was built into it.
Yeah, you had to buy the remote for the
remote
original
and the
Xbox.
receiver.
Yeah, it's goofy.
What the fuck is this?
Yep. And then I touched on a little bit with the Xbox 360, the stupid HD DVD player that you had to buy as like an extra unit. It was like an extra $100. I'm like, why do this? Because the PlayStation 3 had a Blu-ray player built in.
What did that do to the 360 console, or is it just special disc?
It was like a special extra disc drive you basically installed on the back of the Xbox 360 through the USB slot.
I don't remember that.
Yeah, and basically you could basically insert HD DVDs and play that on your Xbox.
Huh.
I'm like, it's so clunky.
Right?
Like, why not just include it?
Remember the Wi-Fi adapters for those?
Yes, they were
The little
kinda
antenna
clunky.
you plugged into the USB?
Mm-hmm. Clip it on the back.
Yeah, it's like, why? Just put that shit inside.
Yeah, make it standard, which they did in the later editions of the 360.
I feel like they were like, man, people don't like buying this extra shit. Mm-hmm. That and technology advanced quite a bit there.
Tell that to Nintendo. My God, how many accessories they have for all their freaking controllers?
Yeah.
Especially the Wii at that time. Oh my God. There's so many stinking like little attachment things you could get on there, like a racing controller.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
the hilarious bat.
Yeah.
The racket for tennis.
Racket.
Mm-hmm. God, there were so many.
Oh, big man on the virtual bowling.
Yeah. That was the thing. Oh my God. Yeah, getting into Wii stuff. Okay, Wii Sports was awesome.
That was at the time, I mean, it's still fun, but that was revolutionary as hell.
It was. It was really cool. Because it had like infrared sensor that would like censor where the controller was and everything. And I remember like we tried to do boxing and we would just end up like speed bagging the controllers and it would just automatically just knock out your
Well,
opponent.
it's the same with bowling. Like you could go through the motions of actually bowling, or you particularly had just this thing you could do. You just flicked the remote and it would fucking strike every time. We had no idea how you were doing it. We tried that shit and it didn't work.
So freaking good. You just press over twice, a couple times, press the A button, like angle yourself over a little bit and strike every time.
Yep, you gave it a little flick of the wrist and strike. God damn it.
Yeah, it used to piss everybody off so bad.
Remember you had DDR for the original Xbox.
Oh my God, DDR.
That was entertaining.
That was a lot of fun.
That was
I remember dancing there was a couple of those I could actually do like extreme, and it was just really crazy. But like your feet are flying everywhere. Now those pads were way better than the old track pad for the NES. Like, oh my God, yeah, the DDR pads for the Xbox were way more sensitive than that thing.
Remember trying to play Halo with one of those?
Yeah, it just wouldn't work. Like you can move, but like you couldn't like aim your.
That's all you could do was
stick
move.
anywhere. So that was an experience.
I feel like we tried to play Halo with a Guitar Hero guitar once too.
Yeah, that's the other thing. Like all the goofy guitars and Rock Band. Yes, that was another interesting one.
Guitar Hero and Rock Band, which again I suck at every game that I ever played ever, but those were fun.
Rock Band for me, I remember when I picked it up, that thing cost almost as much as an Xbox did. It was wild. I remember blowing basically $200 at Walmart, getting this giant ass container of a thing. It had the drum set in there, it had a controller, and then the microphone. And that microphone shocked the shit out of me. Like, you plug it in, it's like, ow! Be sitting there singing a song. It's just like, I got my orange crush. Ow! God, shock me again!
Like your pitch indicator thing is all over the place.
Yeah. And eventually you found out, like, you could just basically just hum, like, It does the same thing as singing. So it's just like, okay.
Why
so I don't have to sound like a total jackass now.
Right.
Howling like a dog in the middle of the night, and mom and dad downstairs trying to sleep. Shut up! We're playing Rock Band.
God.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Guitar Hero started that whole genre.
Yeah.
And then I think, like, the original creators, like, wanted to branch out and, like, do more things. They created Rock Band and have the old drum set and all that stuff. You could have, 2 guitars, a vocalist, and a drummer, I think. You actually have a band. It's really cool.
Yeah, it was fun.
Revolutionary for the time.
Yeah, they don't do shit like that anymore.
No. Well, it's extra accessories and extra stuff to buy. And in today's society where everybody's trying to be, like, minimalist, have less stuff, they're trying to be more compact.
Right.
So, and that's why those things kind of fell by the wayside. It's a shame.
They'll make a comeback sometime.
Yeah, I'd like to. I'd like to go back and collect again just so we have it, so we can just start up a band.
Right.
At random.
Yeah, I can't remember what they had a name for the drum pad. That was what it was.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, those things they were very cumbersome, though. They took up a ton of room, but it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, there was no way of, like, putting that stuff anywhere that it didn't take up a ton of space. At least with, like, DDR, you could roll the mats up and put them away.
Yep. Yeah, those DDR mats. And I think I ended up buying them later on, so they were, like, super cheap at the time.
Yeah.
So I think they still sell, pretty expensive now, I think.
That's another thing. Like, some of that stuff, there was third-party components that you could buy, especially the controllers, like you had mentioned previously. Like, there was the regular Xbox controllers that were $40 or $50.
Oh, yeah.
Or more.
Controllers, even back then, were not cheap. Even today, have you seen the price of controllers?
Yeah.
They're like $60 a pop.
Well, it's amazing. I don't know what happened to the third-party competitors. Where'd Mad Cats go?
I don't know.
You remember
They all fell off the grid.
Yeah.
I remember for a while there was one called Rock Candy I used to buy all the time. They had really good controllers that I would use I would buy Xbox plug-in controllers for the 360, and they were compatible with your PC. So you just plug it into a USB port, and you could use it on your PC for Steam. I'm like, this is great.
The Mad Cats controllers, they were a little bit different than the original Xbox controllers.
They tended to be smaller, I think.
And then there was another company that made a near identical controller to the Xbox controller.
Really?
Yeah.
Like the next iteration, not the big old Duke controller, that massive sucker.
Yeah. There's like, you had the clear blue one.
Mm-hmm.
There was a company that made some that were almost identical to those without the Xbox logo. And I don't remember who it was.
Yeah. I know I've got a couple copies of unopened original Xbox controllers that look like it was made by a third-party company, but they look honestly just spot on like the original Xbox controller. It's crazy.
They recently remade a Duke controller for the new Xboxes.
Those things were so cumbersome. They were crazy.
It's a purple Cortana controller.
Is it?
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah, they released it for Infinite.
I like how Xbox basically took the inspiration behind the Sega Dreamcast controller and basically buffed it up because it basically has the same button layout, changed the color scheme around, and added an extra joystick, which is what Dreamcast have been missing. But it's basically the Dreamcast controller.
What game console had the goofy controller with the thumbstick in the middle? You could hold it like this.
Like it looks like an X-Wing. Is that N64?
Maybe it was the N64.
Yeah, N64 had like a very weird.
Was right in the
It
middle.
looked like an E going down.
Yeah.
Kind of like that.
Yeah.
So
it was the worst controller design ever.
Yeah. And Nintendo, like, they were really looking for interesting controllers there because they went from the Nintendo sleek little, like,
block.
Little rectangle controller for the original NES. Super Nintendo kind of had that with a little bit of curves on the side. It was a little bit of a bulb thing around the edges. And then, N64 came out of nowhere. It looks like a freaking X-Wing. We're like, what the?
Yeah.
And then the GameCube controller, I'm like, what is this thing? Because, like, the C, like, buttons turned into a nipple. It was like a weird little nipple joystick controller. I'm like, what is this?
I remember that. I don't know what a GameCube controller looks like.
Yeah. I was like, what the? What is this?
Did that have...
It had
2 sets of bumpers on the back?
It had 1 set of bumpers and then like a Z button on top of the left side controller. Okay. It was weird.
Did that have the trigger in the back of the controller too? Or am I making that up?
No, the trigger on the back, that was N64, had the trigger on the back. On the middle component thing on the very back, you hit that button.
What a fucking weird
it was clunky. You have to sit there and switch between, like, if you're going to use the D-pad, or if you're going to use the joystick. You're like,
Yeah.
what the...
Yeah, who created that shit?
I don't know. It was
He's
different.
smacked.
And not to mention the joystick would usually go bad on the N64 a lot, too. Because people would basically try and use that like crazy, and, like, it would just get very, like, flaccid.
Yeah.
And just, like...
Flaccid.
It would tend to lean over, so your character would be like, really wouldn't run as fast. It's like, dang it.
And we did that a lot with the Xbox controllers, though, too. After they get clicked so many times or whatever, and you'd get character drift, or the sticks just wouldn't work, or they wouldn't crouch or zoom or whatever the function for the click was.
And that was a bad problem that we had, with Xbox controllers, especially 360 controllers. We'd do that. We'd do a thing where we'd rubber band the controller and put put our character into like a sneak mode. Yep. He would level up like crazy in Oblivion. So I remember we tore through tons of controllers that way and ruined them.
Yeah, we had so much money like in the original Xbox stuff.
Oh my god,
we had so much money wrapped up in stuff. Controllers.
Well, think about the LAN parties we used to have. How much money did we drop into like those router boxes,
right?
Or the Ethernet cables that connected to them?
And those things were such shit.
They would bust so easy.
Those were Game Shark.
Whatever happened to the vast majority of those things? They just ended up missing. Did people take them?
I don't know. I think
had to have, because like either that or we'd throw them away.
Probably threw them out because they sucked.
They did.
Because the port for the power cord would be way too big for the cord, so it would wiggle, and if you looked at it funny, it would shut
it's
the
like
power
disconnect.
off.
No!
The tabs on the Ethernet cables, this isn't a problem with the hubs, but the Ethernet cable tabs would break off, so they'd fall out of the hubs all the time.
Right.
And it's like the ports on those were almost too big. Mm-hmm. So like even if they clicked in nice, they still wiggled a ton. I was like, Jesus.
Yep. Yeah, it was just such a delicate little thing. It's like, God damn it.
Yeah. Yeah, we had cables everywhere.
No, we did. It would run all across the house, going down the stairs, like mixed in between all the posts.
And Max would run through the hallway and
like rip it out of its thing. It's like, no! God damn it, Max!
Oh, God.
Be sitting there playing, and all of a sudden you've been disconnected.
Oh!
Yep. Ew! What the fuck? Damn it!
Oh, God, those were good times.
Oh, my God. We had such awesome Halo parties back in the day. Now, we never played GoldenEye, I think, for the N64 ever, right? Because that kind of predated Halo.
Yeah, I only ever played GoldenEye a little bit because Rinaldi's had that one.
Did they?
Yeah, on the PlayStation 2, I think. Yeah, I played it a little bit over there.
Yeah, like I said, I don't know if Mark ever had it, because Mark had the N64 in the neighborhood, and I would just always go over to his place and like, oh, this is awesome.
Did you ever play Ratchet and Clank?
Never really did all that much. There's also Sly Cooper.
Oh yeah,
I think that was another one. Yeah, those are PlayStation genre stuff. I remember going over to my cousins and playing Spyro the Dragon a lot.
Yeah,
and I ended up buying Enter the Dragonfly, I think, for the GameCube years later.
Okay.
Another game, which I remember, I think, renting from Video Safari, was Ocarina of Time, Legend of Zelda.
Oh yeah, Zelda was a franchise I never got into.
Yeah, Mark got big into that. Link was his hero. He always played as Link on Super Smash Brothers.
I remember that.
That was his thing.
Yep.
I always liked playing as Samus. Samus is cool.
Yeah, that was a very popular franchise also. But I had, we had the regular Nintendo growing up, then the Genesis from my uncle, and then we'd occasionally borrow somebody's Super Nintendo, but then from there was nothing. And then the original Xbox.
Yep.
So there was a huge gap in consoles.
Yep.
So I was a little bit out of touch.
Yeah, because you missed out on the whole, what was that? Yeah, the PlayStation genre, the Dreamcast.
Yeah. N64s, all that.
And then, we jumped right into the original Xbox because, Halo came out right at the dawn of, it would have been, 2003, 2004?
Yeah.
Would have got into that, especially 2004, because that would have been, I think, my freshman to sophomore year or something like that. Probably sophomore year sounds right. Yeah. And I remember playing Halo 1, and all of a sudden we got access to Halo 2 before, I think we were supposed to get it for Christmas, and we ended up opening our presents early, and I'm like, oh my God, this game's so much better than the original Halo. It's crazy.
Well, I remember playing Halo 2 before the first one, because it was whoever's Xbox at the house, and I was playing it, and I had no idea what the fuck I was doing. And, either that day or later that week, at least going over to your place, and you had rented the console and Halo Combat Evolved, and I'm like, what are you playing? I'm like, I just played Halo 2. And I'm like, what are you playing? Oh, Combat Evolved. I'm like, oh, I was just playing that game. Like, okay. So that was an ironic time line up there.
Right. I'm just like, oh, hey, we're playing Halo as well. And then from there, we ended up becoming, the Halo epicenter of, the community. Because people would come over to your house and play some System Link. Some people would come over to our house. We try to get as much system links as we possibly could because
Yeah.
the more screens you had, the more boxes, the more games you had, and controllers. Controllers always end up freaking missing at the end of the day. And copies of games. I would go out and buy multiple Halo 2s. They'd just be gone.
Yep.
Like, where'd they all go?
Yeah, and we started labeling everything.
We did. Like, try to label game cartridges and whatnot, or game discs.
And then, like, another party later, like, things would come back.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh, that's where that went.
Interesting.
Who'd this show up with?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But yeah, people would be deceitful and they'd be taking game consoles or especially controllers.
Yeah.
That was the annoying thing because those things, like you said, were about like $35-$40 a pop.
Yeah.
It's like, dang it. So they knew what they were doing, those jackasses.
And then going back a little bit, something we didn't touch on in this episode was the Game Boys.
Yes. Oh my God, the Game Boy Colors
were revolutionary
from
the original Game Boy that was twice the size.
The other thing too, because there was actually a generation in between the original Game Boy and the Game Boy Color, Game Boy Pocket.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they had Game Boy Pockets. There's where you probably found a red Game Boy.
That's what we had before. We didn't have the original Game Boy. We had a Game Boy Pocket.
Game Boy Pocket. Mm-hmm.
Because those weren't in color yet.
Correct.
Yeah.
Well, I think the exterior of those things were colored.
Right.
Like, I think that's where the red Game Boy you probably remember came from. Because the Game Boy Color, you see the way the colors laid out. Sean brought this up. Like, those are all the different colors of Game Boys that came out. So it was the berry pink, it was the purple,
The green.
the green, the yellow, and the blue.
Yeah.
And then also the atomic purple. So, and then they had a couple of, like, weird off-color Pokemon editions. Like, there's a silver Game Boy Color, and then there's also, like, a yellow Game Boy Color that has, like, blue on the back and different colored buttons.
Huh.
It's different.
That's weird.
So, but yeah, the Game Boy Color was really cool.
Yeah, I forgot about the Game Boy Pocket.
Mm-hmm.
As
Those things are still pretty high buck, too.
I don't doubt it. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we had. That's the one that I have no idea where that came from. It just showed up, and then it had Mortal Kombat with it.
Yep. That's got to be a time with Mike or something. Mike probably got a hold of something.
That could have been his, or it might have been my uncle's, because my uncle gave us the Sega Game Gear.
Good old Game Gear.
That thing was such a enormous beast of a thing.
Touching back on that stuff, because I don't remember using Game Gears as much as Game Sharks. I remember Game Shark was the big one where you could get that from pretty much any game console back then. And with Animal Crossing, there was also another one, much like Game Shark, called Action Replay.
Oh, yeah.
This is one of the main reasons I ended up getting into Animal Crossing is because you could actually get ports or emulators of old Nintendo games within a game. I'm like, oh my God, it's a game in a game. This is mind-blowing to me. So you could go back and play like Excite Bike or any of those things. And you needed to have a Game Shark or Action Replay with Animal Crossing for the GameCube in order to access a very special edition. You could actually get, I think, the original Legend of Zelda and the original like Mario games, like the first 3 Mario games, I think, in Animal Crossing.
Really?
I'm like, oh my God. But the only way you could access it, you couldn't get it in the main game. You had to have an Action Replay or Game Shark in order to access it. I'm like, damn it.
Yeah, that's old stuff like that, man.
Mm-hmm.
It's going from the Game Gear, which was the massive handheld,
Oh, yeah.
to
Yeah, you had the Game Gear, and that thing was ahead of its time. It had like a backlit screen. You could play it at night, and it took like a shit ton of batteries to operate, didn't it?
I honestly feel like it took like 4D batteries, and it weighed like 12
I was going to say the weight on that sucker had to be crazy.
And the cartridges were weird.
Yeah. They're kind of more elongated, weren't they?
I think we had Mortal Kombat and Sonic on that, and maybe one other. We had a weird Sonic game for that. It wasn't Sonic 1, 2, or 3.
Yeah.
It was a weirdo off the wall.
Thought there was like a different. It said they had Sonic 2, but it was like a different version of Sonic 2.
Yeah, something. It was a weird Sonic for sure.
Yeah.
And then going from something like that to the Game Boy was, as far as handhelds, was wild.
Game Boy Pocket.
Another weird portable console was the Nomad.
Oh yeah.
I remember Bernie had one of them because I remember going to the high school with him for something. Like we were kids, and we were sitting in the hallway, and he had this thing like plugged into the wall, and it was still just another beast of a portable console. Mm-hmm. It was still kind of neat.
God, yeah, he had. That's probably where you got a bunch of stuff too. It's probably from the Wallaces too, right?
I don't think we got a whole lot that I can remember. I'm gonna try to find that.
I know he was big on. Yeah, Bernie was big into Halo as well.
Yeah.
So he was a very good player.
Yeah, he
too,
was
if I remember
pretty good.
right. So
Yeah,
I remember you
good.
and Matt were unstoppable on lockout with like swords and shotguns.
Shotgun.
Oh my God, that was just crazy.
Yeah, I was better with the sword. He was better with the shotgun. I could not get him.
Mm-hmm.
It was tough.
Yeah, he was good.
Game Gear.
Good old Game Gear. But yeah, I remember the Game Boy Pockets. Oh, yep. I've always preferred the colors. So Game Boy Color's always been my thing.
Yeah, and again, the size, they're way smaller.
Oh, yeah.
The original Game Boys were huge.
Mm-hmm. The other things, basically, I call it a brick. This is like a giant, like, I've never owned an original one. I know somebody's been selling them on Facebook Marketplace, so thought about going back and getting one just to have one.
Right.
But I don't know. I've always preferred the colors. And it's cool, like, getting these old things, too, be able to connect them again.
Right. Mm-hmm. And, like, all the goofy little gimmicky things, like the flashlight or the camera.
Right. All the accessories that went with it.
Yeah.
James still has a lot of his stuff.
Huh.
Like the little fold-out magnifier with, like, the lights on.
I forgot about that thing.
So good.
What's it do? It clicks over the top of the screen?
Yeah, because there's, like, I think on the side, too, there's, like, little clamps.
Oh, yeah.
Uh-huh. You just, like, clamp it in there.
I had a SpongeBob game for the Game Boy.
I think I remember that one.
The golden spatula.
Golden spatula.
Or the spatula of destiny or something.
Mm-hmm.
It was tough, but it was fun.
You'd run around. I remember going out. I do remember renting Game Boy games from Video Safari. I think I rented Oracle of Seasons or Oracle of Ages, one of the Legend of Zelda games.
Okay.
And I remember playing that on the Game Boy Color once upon a time. So that's going way back. Oh, any other games that we wanted to talk about on this thing?
To my list.
God. There's so many great. And that's the thing, too. As we go through time here, like, there's so many great games in the past. Like, don't have time to go back and play them half the time.
Yeah.
It's just like, it stinks. Oh, Merlin and Elder Scrolls.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that was a big thing. I remember Paul ended up getting me into Morrowind. He said basically the game was like self-generating. It never ended. That wasn't the case at all. Like, obviously there was like an actual land and everything. But like Merlin was just gigantic. And it would just keep going and go. It would take days to get to places. I'm like, what is this game?
Right. Yeah, I remember Justin got me into it.
Really?
Yeah. That was fun. I really enjoyed that game.
Solomon Brothers, they were big in that.
Even went back and played it recently, and I had to cheat to get anywhere in that game because it's infuriating. But
freaking cliffhangers, or they call them, or the
cliff racers.
Yeah.
Just remake that game with better gameplay.
They've been talking about that. Actually, they're remaking Oblivion. I think this year they're going to come out with a remake of that, so that should be good.
Yeah, supposedly that and Fallout 3, from what I heard.
I'm still shocked that you missed out on Oblivion.
Yeah, that was weird.
Yeah. Just didn't come around until more recently.
Yeah, the art style, for sure, still took me a while to get caught into. I don't know.
Right. Well, after you play Skyrim and then go back to Oblivion, it's kind of like a step back.
Well, the same with Morrowind going for it. It's like all kind of drab and gray and brown, and then you go to that, and it's nothing but vibrant green. And I'm like, oh my God, there's a sun.
Right. Just like, oh my gosh.
I'm not stuck in this hellish desert.
It's like a total blast in the past. Ugh.
Right.
I remember everything was like so text based too. It wasn't like nobody actually like talked that much in that game. It's like, oh,
yeah, that was sort of a turn off for me because I can't read.
Right. Well, like I said, I'm more auditory, so like hearing that type of hearing dialogue just sounds better than actually reading out on text prompt.
Right. Yeah, I'm out of my list.
Yep. Oh, you're good. We've ran down through a ton of stuff. So through all the different generations of video games from our childhood up until modern day. Although we still have yet to touch on Destiny, so we'll save that for another episode with Ashley as well. Yeah, because Destiny's quite fun.
Yeah,
the original Destiny anyway.
Yeah, the original.
The second one,
it's had its ups and downs.
Yeah, it's really cool. Any other games to talk about? I think that's about it. So at least that's coming to my mind anyway. We've touched on everything from Mortal Kombat to
Sonic.
Yeah, Sonic back in the day and the movies.
Boogerman.
Booger, yes, that's a classic. Everybody's going to be listening like, Booger Man, what the fuck is that game?
If anybody listens to this and you recognize Booger Man, you are on my list of people I now like.
There we go. So, shout out to Booger Man. Make a remake. Come on.
360.
So good.
Put it on the 360 for me. 15 years old.
That'd be so great. God. Or they should bundle it like as like a Nintendo like retrospective bundle pack.
Yeah.
Kind of like what they did with Genesis, because that Genesis pack has a lot of old games that even I never played back then.
Yeah, there's a ton in there.
Yeah, I'm glad I told you guys about that, because when I mentioned, like, hey, Xbox having a sale on this Sega Genesis collection, you might want to snag it, because it's only like $6.
It's like $5 or $6. I'm like, fuck yes, I'm buying that.
Cool. And you said you and Mike were just going crazy on the Gold Max?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
God, that game was hard, too.
It was. I'm glad it's an entire collection. If anybody out there is listening, yeah, definitely pick up the Genesis collection, because it's really cool. You go into the main game, and it's like you're transported back into like an early 90s, late 80s room.
Yeah.
and you like look over and you got like what a Super Soaker gun in the corner. You got like a Sonic poster on the wall, Golden Axe poster, and then you look over and you have all the old Genesis like cartridge game cases.
Yep.
With all the different like games, not all of them, but like a good chunk of like the original collection.
Was there 40 or 50 games in there or something like that?
It's a pretty decent number. Yeah. So they got Vector Man there. They got Sonic the Hedgehog, Sonic the Hedgehog 2. They have Sonic Spinball, and then Sonic 3D Blast of all things.
Sonic 3's not in there?
No, Sonic 3 is not there, nor Sonic and Knuckles, which I'm shocked about.
Yeah.
If they would have included those two, it would have been like perfect collection.
Yeah.
And then they didn't have a Game Gear. Damn it. That would have been hilarious. They just have a Game Gear off to the side.
Leave that shit out of there. We prefer to forget that.
Game Gear wasn't officially licensed through Sega, though, was it? I thought it was like some third-party thing.
I'm not sure. It said Sega on it.
Really?
Yeah.
All right, maybe it was.
Or I just had that up. I wonder if it's...
I'm curious about that.
Yeah, it said Sega on it.
Wow. Yeah, so it was officially licensed. Interesting.
There's one refurbished on Amazon for $218.
Oh, my God. That's the thing. The old retro stuff is just crazy priced now.
Yeah. Can't get it anymore.
The way I would go about playing the old games, though, is honestly pick up a thing called a Retron. They're really cool.
I have one.
Yeah. Do you?
Ange bought it. Yeah, it's a Genesis Super Nintendo.
Like a Retron 3, kind of like what I have, the red one upstairs?
Yeah.
Or is it a Retron 5? Retron 5 is the one where I think it can play Game Boy games.
Oh.
It's really cool.
Or no, this is a Retro Bit, sorry. Retro Bit. Same thing.
Same type of thing where you can play all the old retro stuff.
Yeah.
Those are honestly well worth the money. So you can go back and play all the old games. Especially so we start getting into things where it's like you buy a AAA tier game and then you get commercials.
Yeah.
Like Ubisoft is trying to push. It's like, are you kidding?
Can't stand that shit.
No, let's go back to the old stuff, man.
Right?
So plug it in, off you go.
Yeah, that and everything you buy now has to be updated. So like you don't get a complete game.
That's like, phasmophobia. I call it update phobia. Because all it does, every time you get on there, it's just like, another 2 gigabyte update. 10 gigabyte.
Right? Where's the complete game? Why did I pay $60 for this?
Son of a gun.
Yeah.
That game, though, it's more of a work in progress, so they'll constantly update a lot of stuff. So they'll make the game progressively, supposedly better and better. But the last time we played it, Sean, Jerry, and I, we played through Steam, and we just all left in a huff because we were getting our ass kicked by this ghost for like 5 hunts in a row. You're supposed to basically use deductive reasoning or something like that to try and figure out what the ghost is out of a list of ghosts.
Yeah.
And the ghost can kill your character.
Huh.
And it would just slowly pick us apart.
Huh.
We're like, God damn it. I think you'd love it if you ever got a chance to play it. Do you have a computer PC at home?
No. Nothing that can game.
We got to get you set up on that thing. Maybe we'll get like another PC here. We have dual things and have you over sometime. Dude, it is a hoot.
Yeah.
It's freaky, too, because you're listening with headphones like this, and you're just sitting there, and you'll hear like, it's like, oh, okay. Especially playing in the middle of the night with all the lights off, you're just like, I'm done. It's so much fun playing with friends, too, because you'll just hear like, God, it's got me! It's got me! Ah! It just cuts off. It's like, well, Eric's out of this one.
Oh, he's dead.
Phasmophobia, fantastic game. So worth the play, especially during Halloween season. It's great. Nice. So we'll have you over for that one. All right. So thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Kevin, great having you on.
Thanks for having me. It's been fun.
We're having actually a double-header podcast today, so we actually recorded another one earlier, but always good having you over. Great talking to you again.
Appreciate it.
Yeah. Until the next episode, everybody, have a good one.